Welcome back to a very hot and sweaty version of Quick Chat in the Cadillac. My name's SG. I like to explore the simplicity of complexity. If you don't know, this is my show where I break down things for you both real and quick. There will be times where your life makes you feel as though you are experiencing claustrophobia. Seems like your surroundings, your environment is closing in on you, and all you need to do is breathe. But it feels like you can't breathe because everything's being pressed and compressed onto your body, and you have no room or space to breathe. Guess what, my friend, my butterfly in training? The claustrophobia is a symptom of your life indicating that you need change. Change is coming, or change is already here, and you just haven't embraced it yet. That's what claustrophobia is. When you feel like you are being compressed, when your life is pushing down on you from all sides, it's because you're being asked to grow outside the box, to operate outside the box that you are currently operating in. Now, as simple as that seems in breakdown, obviously, just like everything fucking else on this goddamn channel, it's very difficult in execution to understand. But when you do start to grasp the idea that when you're being compressed, it's because it's time for you to expand. It's time for you to change. You've outgrown the box that you're in. It will allow you to transition a whole lot smoother. Think about like how water works, water pressure. The deeper that you go underwater, the more compressed you're going to be. And if the water level, that surface level of water, is where you're supposed to be, where you need to be operating at, and where you need to be shooting for, imagine you getting bigger, stronger. You're going to be denser because you have more muscle, which means you're going to sink lower. So if you're not swimming in the opposite direction so that you could break the surface of the water and get to the next level, the next box, expand outside the box you're currently operating in, it's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And that's the claustrophobia of life. You're going to have to swim a little bit higher the longer that you wait. And that's why, it's the same thing with being stuck in a box. If the box is breaking in on you, until you start to provide resistance, you're just going to get crunched up more and more and more. And it's going to be harder for you because you don't have as much leverage and momentum to go, well, bam, and break out of that shit. You feel me? And that's why if you're one of those people right now who are experiencing claustrophobia, it's because it's asking the universe, the reality that you exist in, is asking you to grow. It's asking you to expand. It's asking you to perform at a higher level. It's asking you to take all your momentum and capitalize off it and just boom, skyrocket outside of that box, rise above the water level so that you can get to the next plane, the next state of matter, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't really care. But the idea is, the claustrophobia is a symptom of you staying in the same place. Even though you're bigger and stronger, all that muscle that you built, whether it's spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, or financial, all that muscle that you built is now denser. Okay, you're denser, which means you're going to sink if you don't swim. You feel me? And when you just sit there and try to float, you'll keep going lower, lower. The pressure will eventually bust you and you'll explode into a million smithereens. So what is you doing? Claustrophobia is not meant for you to freeze up, even in the literal sense. Like, if you're claustrophobic in some sort of space, your reaction should not be to stay claustrophobic and hyperventilate yourself into a state of unconsciousness in which you pass away. I don't know. But the idea is you need to escape the room. You need to find the peace to center yourself, focus, and find a solution. We talked about this yesterday with curveballs, how you're not supposed to be panicking when life throws you curveballs. The same is true for claustrophobia, because even if that is a curveball in a sense, it's a much slower feeling. It's a much more subtle way that the universe asks you to expand. It's a much more subtle way that the universe will challenge you, because it's telling you, hey, get your ass in gear. You can't stay at the same level anymore. You've already outgrown it. If you continue to stay at the same level, it's going to compress and compact you into a version of yourself you never want to be, with lasting damage and effects. It's going to be hard. You're going to have to make a lot of chiropractic trips to fucking undo that damage. And that's why claustrophobia could be a blessing and a lesson, because it can teach you the exact right moment when you need to pivot. See, if you tried to swim too soon, maybe your muscles would be not developed enough spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, or financially to maintain that level of swimming, right? So as you sink and you're trying to swim against it, instead of just floating, you tire yourself out and drown. But once you start getting that claustrophobic feeling where you're like, ooh, I just been kind of chilling, floating around, but things is getting tighter, they're compressing, it's asking you to do more. Life is asking you to expand what you're able to accomplish right now, or your perception of it, because quite frankly, you probably can accomplish more than you think you can accomplish in the first place. That's why you're getting claustrophobic and shit. Now I'm starting to sweat in this bitch because this car, the windows is not open. And I don't know why I turned the car off before I opened the windows. But maybe it's because I'm spitting fire right now. Super hot fire. And honestly, that's why you got to pay attention to yourself. That's why you have to understand and check in with yourself daily, weekly, monthly, whatever the case, so that you can, analyze what's going on right now. Do I feel like I'm making progress? Do I feel like I have too much on my plate? Or is everything just kind of closing in around me, asking me to expand? It's not asking you to shrink. If you shrink, then you're undoing your progress, right? That's some people's reaction as well. They'll start feeling claustrophobic, and what do? They shrink. They, instead of meeting the standard that they're currently meeting, and then seeing there's a higher standard for them, they just have to break out of this standard. They will shrink so that they still have room between them and the standard that they already met. It makes them feel comfortable. Like, oh yeah, I could go achieve it again. Look at me achieving stuff. No, you're not achieving anything. You are already there. You just refuse to break past that point and go get the new standard. That's what claustrophobia is. It's like, oh, I already met my goal. Where do I go from here? Set a new fucking goal and go get the new fucking goal. That's the point. Because if you just set a goal, then meet the goal, then go back down, then meet the goal again, all you're ever doing is essentially running in a circle. You see that? If I turn it this way, guess what? It looks like a circle. Oh, look at me setting all these goals and achieving them. The whole time, you just been making a big fucking circle. You look like a fool. Have you ever seen someone walk in a circle that looks smart? Fuck no. Especially if they keep doing it over and over and over. They look like a psychopath and a dumbass. So you got to keep walking. You got to keep climbing the mountain. Set yourself a new goal. Break through that box and go do something even more betterer. Even more betterer. And that is why we talked about claustrophobia today. Because it shows you exactly that claustrophobia is not about, oh, man, everything's closing in on me. I feel like I can't breathe. What do I do? Claustrophobia should be looked at like this. Oh, my God. My life is too small for me right now. I'm too big for my life right now. I got to set a new expectation for what my life encompasses, what my life encases, what my life can bring to me. I'm too big for this shit. Big fish, little pond type stuff. We got to swim downstream to get to the ocean. Or swim upstream. I don't know how water works in that way, like the tunnels or the rivers and the channels and all that shit. Don't come for me, geologists. I hated geology in college. I cheated my way through every fucking portion of that class. I don't even know if that's geology. But for realski though, let's talk about it. Claustrophobia, you should look at that. When you feel that feeling of claustrophobia in your life, you should be excited. You should be like, oh yeah, that means it's time to level up. You gotta bust out the egg. You think the little baby chicken in the egg just chills in the egg, and when it gets too big for the egg, it's like, oh no, I gotta be a little bit smaller again. I gotta be a baby chicken again. I bet you if it thinks that baby chicken turns into a fucking omelet, or one of those, baby chicken things they eat in Japan, or Vietnam, I don't know where they eat that, but no. That's not what the baby chicken does. The baby chicken goes boom, and they turn into, what's his name from Looney Tunes? The rooster guy. I don't remember his name, but you know what I'm saying? Shit. Life is full of all types of metaphors in every form and fashion, like a pine cone. You think a pine cone gets too big for the pine cone shell and goes, oh, fuck, I guess I'll just be a smaller pine cone now. No, the pine cone wants to fall on the ground so it can grow into a big, tall pine tree and make a million bajillion other pine cones every goddamn year so that you can throw them at your cousins. Shit. I mean, goddamn, man, what do you really think claustrophobia is? If you don't understand that it's telling you you're ready for the next level, then I'm going to need you to shift that perception so you can understand it now. Then you can act and move accordingly, and you'll be all good to go, family. All right, that's what I got to say. I got to go, but just so you know, this has been SG with a quick chat in the Cadillac. You can see me on YouTube. You can go to my channel. You can watch the clips on IG and TikTok and enjoy it in a very small form and fashion. But outside of that, peace.